Welcome back. Recording has started, and the most notorious, notable Ross Babcock and his personal archives are at your disposal. Sorta.
Notorious.
So, yeah, notorious. It's a good word.
Alrighty.
Although apparently my word for this
Uh,
last week was moxie, and my surprise at how many people didn't know what that word was. You have moxie, and this is all yours.
just a minute here.
Now you want a minute? You don't get a minute now. That was
Okay,
earlier.
well, I'll deal with it. Oh, okay, back.
Wait,
Sorry for the
wait.
interruption.
Was that Carol? Did you show her the baby pictures?
She sees them daily. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Um, so uh, here to show off things that I have in the archives. The archives are in a bit of flux at the moment. Those of you who've been looking in the Good Old Days channel can see that I built a bunch of shelves and have started unboxing boxes and putting stuff on shelves. Um, while I have a lot of room, I don't have a lot of room to pull all the boxes off the storage shelves and put them into the bookshelves. So there's a dance going on. So I don't have as much stuff as I've shown in the past. Um, but what I thought we'd do this time around is, since we're offering museum scale figures in the auction, is to look at some of the other uh, notable pieces that I've got. Um, for those of you that don't know, we're currently auctioning off one copy each of the museum scale mechs and the Shadowrun Troll. These are produced by Rawcliffe, a company that produced fancy figurines for mostly for gift shops and that sort of thing. These were cast as one pieces from uh, the original Ralpartha's masters. Um, and these are in pewter of the time and have the nice antique finish with no trying. The thing is, uh, that while I don't have all of them, I have some of them. Uh, the museum scales were sold by Ralpartha as multi-piece miniatures, and of course, to help sell them, we have painted versions of at least some of them. And these were painted by uh, excellent painters in the UK and shipped to Cincinnati for photography on the packaging and catalogs. So I've got these painted versions. And, you know, the theory is that people would love to have some of these sitting on their desk, sitting on the shelf as presentation pieces. Um, these first five sold well enough so that uh, we were incentivized enough to sculpt some others. And the other line crying out for museum scale miniatures was Crimson Skies. So I think we did four of these and give you a sense of, one, the excellent paint job and the really cool uh, miniatures in their own right. So these were all done back in the day, and now we have uh, with 3D modeling and uh, modeling software, because our interceptor figures are STLs, and you can just easily scale them up from game scale. Here are a couple of presentation pieces that Dan Klein did for us to show off interceptors. I think it's well established at this point that I appreciate miniatures and got into the hobby via war games and miniature gaming, and always have a soft spot for any kind of miniature. Um, Here are some of the best pieces uh, that I've taken out of the display case. We'll go reverse this time. Start off with the newest. We have the new Earth Dawn figures. uh, this one starts with a Y, is unpronounceable. Yassagrath. Uh, he was part of the guess the Grand Bazaar Kickstarter campaign, and will be shipping out shortly. We have Dagthrog, the Rock King. Again, these are painted by Dan Klein, and the one that gave Dan fits is Vergigorm. Again, excellent painting job, spectacular model. Next up, we've talked a lot about dragons lately with the dragon plush toys. But before plush toys, there were, Ralpartha had an extensive line of all kinds of different sized dragons. Um, Here are some of the coolest ones that I have in my behind glass in my case. There's a little bit of travel damage that hasn't been repaired yet in the move from Chicago to Oregon. Always a constant battle to get an interesting pose, plus pieces that can actually be cast in spin casting. Um, there are several iconic Ralpartha figures, the Red Dragon being one of them. See if I can't really show him off on this camera. We'll have to show him on the second camera later on then. But he's easily over a foot long. He weighs over a pound, made out of probably lead at the time. After the Red Dragon is the Bone Dragon. Again, just as large and very cool. Back in FASA's very, very early days, we got together with uh, Martian Metals to produce, that's how our business started, producing 15 millimeter deck plans for Traveler. Martian Metals had the license to produce 15 millimeter miniatures for Traveler. Um, so we got together fairly quickly. Part of that was at the time, Martian Metals, just because they asked, had the rights to produce a miniature of Vermithrax. I forget the name of the movie uh, that he was part of, but they produced this miniature, um, which is really nifty. The spines uh, of the wing are metal, and the uh, fabric in between is actually aluminum foil. And because of this, he's eminently posable, and because he's cool, I actually have two of them. And that in the background, of course, was a box falling over, a box filled with books. So we'll be taking a look at those shortly. But last on the model list, um, Ralpartha has a wide, thousands of different figures that they've done over the years. Um, here's one of the coolest. Uh, Bike rider. Todd, I was going to give you one of these after you had your little motorcycle incident, uh, but Iron Wind couldn't find the molds for this guy. And last but not least, not all miniatures are small, and not all miniatures are made out of metal. This is a resin Mad Cat. He should join the Parade of Mad Cats video that I did a couple of years ago, showing all the different sizes and all their different and all their painted glory. As you can see by my hands, this is not a small guy. Alrighty, on to books. Um, see here. If you've Todd, you can speak if you would like to. Um, after, let's see, let's start this way, I guess. We started out by putting 15 millimeter traveler deck plans into Ziploc bags, 8.5 or 11 by 17 sheets. I haven't found those yet in the archive, but as time went on and we started doing fancier product for other lines, we tried to figure out a way to enhance the packaging for our deck plans. This is uh, the first go at it. So this is Adventure Class Ships, which was a series of 10 ships uh, and a booklet describing them, giving the traveler stats and the story, and then the deck plans themselves. Uh, Again, these are the products that got us going and raised enough cash flow so that we could get Star Trek license, get all of the other licenses that we had. And again, these are all deck plans for little ships likely to be affordable to adventure parties. After deck plans, or after ship deck plans, we also did uh, hotel complex. Again, another place to have firefights and uh, wreak havoc in Traveler. As you can see, the sleeves suffered from problems warping. The shrink wrap would uh, warp the cardboard that we had, everything. So next up were boxes. So here's the same Adventure Class Ships Volume 1 in a nifty box. Everything else is the same. I guess the boxes though did have counters in them. If you didn't have miniatures, we supplied counters so that you could march around the deck plans. Adventure Class Ships Volume 2. And this one is open. And no longer unpunched, but has counters to march around the deck plans. After adventure ships, there were merchant class ships. And as land mercenary ships. Uh, one of the no, after deck plans, it was adventures, and these were presented as books, and as you can see, we certainly did a large number of them. We also had a magazine called High Passage. There's a couple of episodes there. Also, yesterday I mentioned that lots and lots of stuff we did was licensed and translated, and oftentimes the licensee would have a much more spectacular packaging and format than we would. For example, here's our little adventure book, and here's the fancy box set that the our Japanese licensee did for the same product. Uh, this is Hobby Japan, and new artwork, color presentation, uh, all from a little 44-page booklet. Let's see. Once BattleTech took off, uh, let's see, this one isn't going to fit. Let's see if I can break Discord by changing cameras here real quick.
I think Discord ate Ross.
Looks that way.
So, what else can we pretend he's agreed to since he's not here to naysay it? I mean, just, you know, in case.
It's a good question.
All right?
Any licenses we're looking to acquire?
Even I'm not that crazy. Like, I'm crazy enough to try to push the whole baby dragon miniature game, but I'm not that crazy. So, how's your weekend gone? Oh, I think he's back. Are you back, Ross?
I think he's
Discord
restarting.
lied to me. Or he's not back. Yeah, probably is restarting. I think the switching cameras, maybe, which is good to know because I've been wondering about that. So I've got the camera set up now where I can look down on the, like the mat and stuff, which means I should be able to use it for painting if I wanted. But what if I wanted to do different camera angles?
Sorry about that. We're back again. Andy, you
There
probably
you
have
are,
to start.
Ross. I have to pop you back out. There you go. And just so you know, Todd and I were not, absolutely not, actively thinking of ways to, do anything at all. Nothing.
I see. So there's the Italian version of BattleTech that I mentioned yesterday. And here is their Matchbox delivery van with the FASA logo. Todd should just be careful because of things like this. Let's see if I can do this properly here. Todd has mentioned that he wouldn't mind possessing one of these. The question is, which edition?
Which one was the best one?
All, of course. All perfect. No mistakes, no misspellings, everything included.
Well, I see the Star Trek 3 Starship Combat role-playing game is the second edition of that.
And let's see. So there's the first edition. Yes, as stated previously, with Star Trek, every time they came out with a new movie, required a new license or an additional license, not a new license, an additional license. And of course, but with it came cool graphics, photos that we could use on the packaging. As you all know, we had many, many different kinds of licenses for Star Trek. And amongst the things that were available were, patches of various flavors, temporary tattoos, mouse pads, Shadowrun mouse pad. I think this bumper sticker we actually produced ourselves. One of the more interesting was this prototype sample of a puzzle book given to or presented to us by our Russian licensee. Back in the day, all of the BattleTech novels were translated into Russian. So here's a book that contains a puzzle for several different iconic mechs, it seems. I don't know that this was ever produced. Also in line, as we know that we originally started publishing BattleTech books under ourselves. They were successful enough for us to make a licensing arrangement with Penguin Rock, and they we had license for BattleTech, for Shadowrun, and the original 3 Shadowrun novels, in addition to be sold on their own, were actually packaged as the original trilogy and sold very, very nicely. But once again, foreign licensees seem to go out of their way to come up with better looking, better package editions. Here's the first 2 Spanish language translations of Bob Charrette's books in nifty little hardcovers. It's for Spanish, and then the same for various BattleTech novels. Speaking with Spanish speakers, of course, they always wanted to read it in English in the original. Anybody wants to read a literary work in the original language, but again, popular enough to warrant hardcover editions in Spanish. And of course, it's not just FASA product that I've got. It's also a little bit of VWE product, mousepad, operations manual, one place where software team actually got credit, uh, how to use the cockpits, and the first 50 years of the Virtual Geographic League, which is our retelling of history and why the cockpits existed and how they interacted with the world. And the cool thing about this book is that it contains lots and lots of pictures of Jordan's relatives and then have been doctored, if I can find one, um, that have been doctored up to uh, show how our cockpits fit in with these historical figures. So, great story if you can find it. That's pretty much the easy stuff I have to show. Is there anything anybody else would like to see or hear about or learn about? Joel?
So as a secret hack, can we like license Leviathan to another country, have them do the packaging and give it back to us?
We might not want to pay their rates. Um, that's a good question. It seems unlikely.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
So here's things that fell out of that box that you heard crashing a while ago.
We have a question in chat if you have the original Earth Dawn flyers.
And which would those be? These World. This one is actually signed by Bob Aspirin and Lynn Abbey. I know I've got the CD. I probably have. Uh, I know I probably have some. I don't know whether I have all of the Earth Dawn material. That's sort of in the mix at the moment as I try to catalog everything that I've got.
I
But
totally forgot about that CD.
let's see what else we've got here. You know, when stuff gets just dumped into boxes, there's no telling what you'll come across as you go through it. It certainly is amazing how many different companies and magazines and all kinds of stuff that were published in the good old days. Supposedly, there's a review of Shadowrun second edition in this newspaper. It got an A. Our Battletech tattoos. Dragon number 200.
The original Earth Dawn flyers. I might actually have those because I think I took pictures of them once.
Mm-hmm.
Advertising for Earth Dawn. Understanding Traveler. So Etherstream RPG is going to be done when, Todd?
Well, that remains to be seen.
Oh. Let's see here. Make some room. Again, always got to keep up on what the competition is doing. So that little stack of Traveler stuff is presage this big stack of Traveler stuff. Again, other people's licensed products. Just so that we could keep track of what's going on and how our product fit in with them. And Traveler product itself. Fairly complete set. Not the first to use the phrase, correct, Todd? And GDW in their wisdom only trademark Traveler.
So I was going to ask, so are we going to do deck plans for the Leviathan?
In our copious amounts of spare time.
And how big would that, how much space would that take up?
Well, I'm still laughing at the museum scale Leviathans also. I have a table here that's about 7 feet long, about 3.5 feet wide. Will it fit on that? And once we have it, what do we do with it? And can we find the one guy who would be willing to buy it?
Well, we could get one of those big dioramas made of the deck plan, bring it to Gen Con and, run the RPG inside the.
And where would we do this?
At your house, I'm sure.
Todd said bring it to Gen Con, though.
Oh. My hotel room?
Would we chalk it out on the street?
No, we just move all the furniture into one half of the hotel room and use the other half for that. It's fine.
I think we'd have to get a table in the miniatures hall for that.
Well, I have to bring a miniature set, and I can bring 5-foot folding tables.
Well, I thought Todd wanted this to be human scaled so that we would march
actually,
people around
human scaled?
like chess pieces.
Good luck, Todd. Yeah, on your own. There was a question in the room. The Earth Dawn free flyer things from ages ago in the beginning.
Yeah.
Apparently, the one guy has ran it a few times, and he says he thought there was supposed to be a sequel. That's a you question. That predates me being with the company.
Let's see, 1993. Of course, I remember everything perfectly from back then.
Of course you do.
So we have running out of table space here. So we have original hardcovers that don't have anything slipped inside. We have original softcover. We have the lovely leatherettes, personally embossed. Next is the CD. So unfortunately on the bookcase, then we just get into the product itself. So I don't have it handy here. I do know that I've got boxes of, or at least a box or two of stuff from the sales department. I know I've seen old catalogs.
Well, I have the
other
flyers.
flyers.
I have a copy of them. I just took a picture and put it in the thing.
If there was a sequel, that's probably where it might be. And I will get to it eventually.
Well, see, I'm guessing that it's one of those, there should have been a sequel, it just never got around to.
Yeah, but, Earth Dawn was popular in its own right. There's no reason why there shouldn't have been one done if we said there was going to be one. It's just a question of what format did it take and where is there proof that was actually done.
Well, now I'm curious because I didn't know there was ever a sequel done. I would say my copies are pretty mint, though.
An 8, a 7 or an 8.
They're pretty close. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
but I just found them a few years ago. My originals are long gone. I don't know where they went. I found these at a game shop a few years back and said, those are mine. They come with me.
If they rest inside, somebody's hardcover book, the odds are good that they're going to be in pristine shape. Otherwise, the world is a dangerous place for anything printed, especially loose leaf.
That's true.
What else we got?
All the things.
These are the original FASA editions of the original BattleTech novels, including the hard to find sword and dagger. I know I've got multiple copies of these sitting in the back in my workshop. But these are my shelf copies. Don't have all of the Earth Dawn novels out at the moment. What else? Anything in particular anybody would like to see? See if I can pull it out.
They did like in the 90s.
DMZ, it was a minis game in the 90s. Do you have that?
It's one of my favorite experiences is
Is it?
running it in Euro Gen Cons for a couple of years in a row.
Okay, that could have been fun. I don't have that.
But this one is still shrink wrapped. I'm pretty sure I've got another copy of it in the
In your house
archive
open?
book stuff.
Oh.
Well, we were on DMZ. We had the 8-foot by 4-foot Shadowrun City that we brought to Gen Con, and we would run ZMZ on that.
Well, where's that at? Lost?
That, well, it was basically when the warehouse shut down.
Okay.
It was essentially given to a guy who could take it away.
Ah.
Whether it still exists now or not, that I don't know.
Well, part of me is glad because I don't want to have to drive out there to try to drag that back. Drive to your house, be like put in the back of the pickup truck. It gets 8 miles to the gallon. It's a
It
one-ton
was
pickup.
really cool, though.
Was it? See, I never saw it. Do you have pictures? Maybe it can be
There are
recreated.
pictures. There are pictures. Well, it's probably beyond our budget, and it's certainly. I know it was in a case that was bigger than 4x8, and it was probably 5 feet tall in the case.
I recall you had one for Earth Dawn, too.
We had one for Crimson Skies. We had a factory for BattleTech. We had. Was it more of a rolling landscape with maybe a lava pool for Earth Dawn, or was that for Vor?
I think the Earth Dawn one had the pyramid on it, or the
Mhm.
temple kind of thing.
Yep. That's back when FASA we would have 20 or 30 booths at Gen Con. 8 to sell product, and the rest were for demo areas. At the end, we had Earth Dawn pillars and all kinds of cool stuff at the show. Premier place to release new product, and we would finally be selling enough so that we could break even and make money at Gen Con, as opposed to our current situation. So anything else I can show off in our 5 or so minutes that we've got left here?
I don't know. Grab a random thing. You always have cool stuff.
Well, that's the thing I don't know because I've lived with it forever.
It quit being
Is
cool to you? Shh.
well, it might have a different impact on folks than it has on me. So
Oh, look at that.
this was really our first foray into role-playing game on our own, and this was after our first two miniature game board games.
While you're showing those off, there was a question. What's your favorite piece?
You asked me yesterday what was my least favorite.
Well, yeah, but this wasn't my
I
question. This is somebody else's question.
I dodged that.
You can have a
Uh,
favorite.
the games that were the most fun to play are things like Crimson Skies and Centurion.
I'm going to be flat
The
out honest. I don't remember any of these things that you just put up.
well, because these were done in the early '80s.
Oh, that would be why. Because in the early
I've heard of
80s,
Gravball,
I
but
wasn't that old.
never saw the other ones.
So Combat it was basically a build your miniature kind of game, and you've got to, of course, nothing fits at the moment. You got to take them off as they got damaged. So our first attempt at using miniatures as playing pieces. Again, finding a manufacturer that can do the board, and having cool playing pieces to play the game. And this was done. Combats is '83. Graph-ball is well, it's probably '82 because here's FASA's catalog for 1982 and for '83. (1982) for Graph-ball. And I know I have a whole bunch of one of the characters in Graph-ball is Heartless Huey. We have little pins of him. That's Heartless Huey there.
That's cool.
So these are the first games, unlicensed games, to try and keep from having to pay royalties.
Well, nobody likes to pay royalties.
Alrighty. Let's see.
You know, Todd, you could just talk.
Well, you guys
The
write
Grav
about
Ball
food.
needs a new version. Right after the Baby Dragon game.
Well,
Their stream, Gravball.
no, that's not what you want. This is what you want, right?
Yes.
Also that.
With the That's directions on how to get somewhere. With the stadium,
Say, what do you got? The map of Rome there?
well, it had Elgin, so it was out your
Oh.
neck of not your neck of the woods, but close.
Previous neck of the woods.
Correct. And this one has the
That's a Coliseum.
Oh, that's your playing one, right?
yes.
That's half of the Coliseum.
Each holiday season, we played Wild West, I think, before Thanksgiving, and we played Circus Imperium before Christmas. Everybody in the company was invited, and the schmears there are glorious deaths by various means, immortalized on the map. And the smears are sometimes it's jam, sometimes it's I think cranberries work the best, dried cranberries. And yep, no, it was as Todd will attest, it's a glorious game, great for large groups, and great for daring people to pull the next card to do the next move. But you know, Circus Imperium in the right circumstances is also a great game to play.
So get to work on that, Todd. Right after the cooperative play is done.
Here's the neat part. I came up with ideas for it last night. Started writing them down in my notebook.
The circus or the cooperative play?
Yes.
Yes. but mostly the circus.
Well, I'd probably play that. That looks fun. All right.
The trick is to keep it just rules light enough that, you know, you could have if you had a beer with it, you'd be all right.
So I ran entire party rooms for conventions as far as I ran, well, gaming floors, but party rooms on top of it. And there are 3 things I look for in a party room game. 1, can you play while drinking? 2, will the people who don't want to play but want to watch be entertained? And 3, how much damage are the drunks going to be able to do to it? No, that wasn't quite it, but you get the gist. Part of the license stuff. I actually didn't know about the Top Gun game. Battlestar Galactica I know about, but I don't remember a Top Gun game. That I know about and I have somewhere downstairs. Don't laugh at me, but I have that one.
And I guess we show this, bring this out and show that.
Pre-battle tech?
Well,
You got in trouble for using Droid, right?
This was the original game with the original plastic model kits.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if I still have the letter from Lucasfilm, but yes, they objected to our use of the word droids. So where is one?
BattleTech! Yay! You know what? But it's a better box. Look. The bigger guy, him coming up into the title a little bit. The bold white.
Always making improvements. Always making improvements.
You know, it's probably biased now, but I think BattleTech is a better name.
There's no question about that. Just because we were able to do
Oh, yeah.
and so on.
Well,
so there you have it. And we're out of time, I think.
You are. As always, thank you for digging around in the vault.
And well, I guess nobody listening is a current participant in the auction, but I think the bidding closes in hour and a half. I think that's what I put. So,
Okay.
uh,
Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. If you want to say bye real quick, I'll let you.
thank you, everyone. Same time next year. Till then.